Hello everyone, Jesse Webb, TradersPro. Market conditions looking pretty good yesterday and the last few days, continuing this overall bullish move. We're going to run into some short-term resistance here, and I'll show you some charts on that. Still bullish in a bear market. That bear market state is going to stay until this red line crosses back up above that line right there. So you can see we're trending in the right direction and getting more and more confirmation of that overall direction. And that's one of the things that we want to be able to look for in this short presentation. We have this overall uptrend. Our signals now are reaching this upper range, which I've mentioned in the last couple of sessions, continuing to show that strength. The one thing that we're going to run into now is we are getting momentum to the upside of that range, which simply means that it's just not sustainable at its current trend level. It doesn't mean it's going to entirely reverse and head all the way back down again. But what it does mean is this range right here is unsustainable for the trend. It'll typically work its way back inside of this buy zone and then find some support ideally, and then start to work its way back up again. So we may see price activity. Ideally it's working back and forth inside of this range right here, and this just means we've had a really powerful uptrend, and it needs a little bit of time to consolidate that, to rest just a little bit. The overall breadth indicator also looking positive, and sentiment also, which has been in that upper range now for some time. The buy-sell ratio, we have still really good internals in that overall uptrend, but now you're seeing this widening to a degree that again is not sustainable. So it doesn't necessarily mean a reversal, but it means a pause right here, especially we now got sentiment in this upper range. So be aware of that this trend is working, but it's now towards that upper range of that extreme. It may not be a great location to be adding aggressively into new signals without maybe a little bit of a market pullback. That being said, individual stocks are still going to be individual stocks, and so there's going to be pockets and stocks that are working well. One of the things I noticed today that was actually a pretty significant move on the sectors page is we talked about construction stocks the other day, and now we actually are seeing construction overtake oil and energy. Oil and energy has been sitting up here now for a long time, really probably almost the entire last year, the prior 12 months. Now we've seen it. We're starting to see those stocks starting to move back down again, and we're starting to see construction and transportation and technology. It's going to take a little while for technology to kind of climb the ladder here, but we are seeing this is a bullish type of setting where we're seeing construction, transportation, things that are growth oriented, economic growth and building growth oriented. So that's an interesting move in a sector rotation. I'll be watching for that instead of continuing to be focusing on the oil trade. Some of these oil stocks may start to decline, and some of these breakouts may not work quite as well. So be aware of that on the construction and transportation. And just the overall message that gives in terms of bullish outlook. Some of the stocks in the new buy list, let's take a quick look at those. Hudson Tech, it's an industrial service stock, and some of the top stocks here. More medical stocks, those are obviously working. There's so many of those in that list that it's a little bit harder for that average rank to pull a little bit higher in that list, but keep an eye on these because you're going to get some high flyers in that medical biotech space. Some of these that are having this setup, again, this bullish profile, this bullish trend profile is the ideal location. Earlier in that trend is best, but anywhere inside of this range presents an opportunity because you've got a stock that's trending now. It's got enough confirmation to give a signal, and you can set a stop loss down below this low or even below the low of the bar of that day. So you've got a setup for the buy signal and the risk management in a stop location, and from there it's just come what may. Ideally, we want that to continue to trend higher, and that's the setup. This is a nice setup here in that new buy list. And you'll see those from time to time. Some look a little bit better than others. Some that are really volatile like this, you may choose to move on from and look at something that's a little bit smoother type pattern. Here's a good example. Medical stock had a massive run up. Now it's consolidated. that massive run up, meaning that it's just, it's had time to rest, to pause, to do this back and forth. There's not a huge supply demand shift. Right here, there is a massive supply demand shift where you have huge demand, less supply. At this point, you now get more selling. There's not as much demand. So ideally, and typically what will happen is you'll get a continuation of this trend. This is consolidating that trend, and then you get a breakout of that. So keep an eye. It's actually another nice little stock pattern here, VKTX. If you don't have full access to the site, you can sign up with the link below, and we look forward to having you. Have a great day today.